Hi, Charles Moman here. Well, today's video is going to mainly be about that ceiling, and took me a while to finally get it done, but let me show you what I did. Thanks for watching. Well, now that I've got the pre-wiring done, now I need to get ready to put the walls on, and what that's going to entail is I need to put Polyiso 1 inch back here. I'm going to put that up in the ceiling, and I'm going to use those spikes, and I'll show you that again instead of spray glue. So I'm about to put the insulation up here, so I'll be of course cutting the holes where the puck lights will be coming out, and the Max Air fan, wanted to make sure that it indeed works, so I just took the bare wires and connected them to a battery for one of my Ryobi drill, and it runs fine. And so I used butt connectors, heat shrink, so I got my wires running back to the fuse block. And so again, what my plan is, instead of hooking up, though I could, instead of hooking up the positive negative of that fuse block to a typical 100 amp, looks like a car battery, but it's a lithium battery that people in vans and RVs use, I'm just going to have it go to a heavy duty wire, not the cheap stuff you see, and it's going to go a cigarette plug that'll plug into one of the Ecoflows. And so it'll run this no problem because I'm already doing that, and most of these ports won't be used that much anyway. So going to get this all buttoned up and get ready to get this insulation up here finally. Well, this may not be exciting to you, but I am finally done cutting the Polyiso. Kind of drove me crazy. I've got a lot of taping to do. I have a few seams to take care of, and I did use those little spike things to put the Polyiso on, and then I also had to measure and get the holes cut for the wires to come through for the puck lights. And the black foam pieces down there in the front about did me in. I was cutting pieces, and then I'd take them out to mark them, take them out to the driveway, cut them, and come back, and I'd done it backwards or something. It just drove me crazy, so I finally threw in the towel and begged my wife to make me a template, so she got that done. So I am now done with Polyiso. The wires are all ready for the puck lights. So after I finished taping the seams, and then I put tape over where all the stick pins were, I did learn this device. I don't know what it's called, but to cut it. I finally found if you cut it, hit it hard and then turn, then it'll snap off more easily. Some people just hit them with a hammer, but I really couldn't do that because I put that kill mat, and then on that I put the foam, so the foam would give too much. So I did find that little trick, and don't let them go flying everywhere. So that's all done, and I used more than I probably needed to, but you know, more is better sometimes. And I did want to point out that I did use the foil tape everywhere and sealed the seams, and then I covered where all the stick pins were that are pierced through the Polyiso, and then I clipped them off. It was quite a job. I used a lot of them, but it's definitely going to stay up there. So I like my foil tape. Well, when I first started doing research about framing, I saw a lot of people using 1x2s. I saw people using heavy, big 2x4s, and I didn't want to do that. So I decided I was going to use 1x3s. And as you'll see in one of the other clips, I found out right away that pushing those up to follow this curve was going to be tough. Just too much stress. Some people cut a slit, have it bend. You know, I could have done that. But instead, I remember several people using plywood that's a little more flexible. And so that's what we did, this 1/2 inch. And I ended up putting 7 plus nuts in each of these beams. So that's definitely going to help. And then I opened these up a little bit with a spade bit so that the screw is flush or below. I will be using bolts, 20 bolts that will go up in there into the plus nuts. I originally had a 1/2 inch longer, and they were going to pierce the roof in a couple of places. Not all places. The space is different. Everything's different, as we all know. Nothing seems to be the same. But I'm going to also put some construction adhesive on the board when you put it up, not to hold it so much, but everyone says to help with squeaking and noise like that. So I'll believe what they say, and it won't hurt. So I'll put that up there. So I'll at least get these 4 beams up there today, figure out what's happening on the ends, and then I'm going to go ahead and start on the sides. Okay, all right.
One more time.
Too long. So originally I was going to do 1x3 across here, but wow, with the transit with this arc, it was going to be too much stress.
Not very flexible.
So I'm going to go back to what I was thinking about doing originally. So now we're at 1/2 inch plywood, and it's still too long. So let's go trim it some more.
Too long.
Take 3. And so here, step back. Here you can see if you go straight across, of course nothing straight in the van, but then you take it, and it was really hard to do this with a 1x3 or even a 1x2. So I'm using plus nuts and maybe a few self-tapping screws, and I think that'll work. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to use the 1x3s on the sides. That should work. So we need to make 4 of these for these beams, and then I'm not sure exactly what we're going to use on each end, but we'll figure that out. Thanks, Mrs. Moman.
You're welcome.
Well, I just finished getting the 4 braces on the 4 beams. I still have to have Susie help me figure out what we're doing on the very front and the very back. The plus nuts worked well. Charles getting the holes nice and straight, not so well. But they're up there, and I like that a little bit wider for me to screw into when we put the shiplap. Well, I'm glad to get these braces on the 4 main beams. I'm going to cover them with the foil tape now, and that pretty much makes it a sealed vapor barrier on the ceiling, which I'll pretty much do also with the size with the Reflectix. It's going to come pretty soon. And I had a failed attempt on the bracing here, and so Susie's going to help me get them, because the plus nuts, they didn't line up right, because the drill was dancing around. I didn't realize it. So anyway, she knows how to do things better than me, so she'll get me going on the bracing on here, and I'm going to get busy taping this and moving on. Just glad to get this, and I still need to add the pieces here, but I'm going to kind of wait and see how the shiplap fits there, and then that'll tell me how thick and what angle and all that. But I want to go ahead and get these covered, and that's what I'll do right now. Well, I've got all the beams covered. This is where people do the spaceship reference, and you may not be able to see it, but well, like right here, I've gotten the word wall written. And just a reminder, when you're cutting styrofoam pieces like this or boards like these beams across, I made sure to write, you know, left side, right side, or something, because it's so easy while you're grabbing wood or pieces of Polyiso, whatever it is. It's so easy to flip them around when you carry them out of the van to cut them, and then you come back and you've done a reverse cut. And I'm sure everyone does that some, so just watch out for that. But so this ceiling now is ready for the shiplap. So now need to get the sides in the same shape, and we might buy the shiplap today or maybe tomorrow morning, but I've got to get this other framing done. So happy to see the ceiling essentially done except for the shiplap. Well, there you go. Today was just about the ceiling and how that worked out, and my problem was flipping and reversing things. So I've already mentioned that. You know, make sure when you have those pieces, whether the styrofoam or the wood, write on them that it's, you know, this is the wall or the driver's side, or do something, because you'll get out of the van and cut and come back and you flip and you reverse it. And that's how I completely wasted a board up here. Just got things backwards. So right down, because no one's going to see it anyway. So right on it, just to keep things straight. And thanks for watching.